94.3 The Shark, everything that rocks. TNA Wrestling. It's TNAWrestling.com if you want to pick up tickets, because with us to talk about TNA Slammiversary July 20th is KC Navarro. KC, you look amped up, and we're a few weeks away.
Yeah, man, it's wild. I feel like this time came very fast, and it's actually a little more wild to me because it's the day before my birthday, and I'm turning 26, so I feel like I'm getting old.
And you look like a baby, too.
I know.
You know, we were just talking to the Hardy brothers, and I think they were just a little bit younger than you when we started to really know who they were.
Yep.
You have a chance to make a name for yourself. TNA Slammiversary, July 20th, huge arena, UBS Arena. What is your plan to make sure everybody's talking about you when your match is over?
Well, I mean, it's kind of insane. I've been doing everything I can to try to get me and my tag team partner, AJ Francis, we are first class, to get on this card. You know, I've been trying to do all the media. You know, this was Long Island, New York. This is the UBS Arena. And you know what's crazy? 17 years to the day on July 20th was my first ever wrestling show. I went to WWE Great American Bash in Nassau Coliseum. And it's just crazy that 17 years later, I'm going to be wrestling at Slammiversary in Long Island. I feel like it was meant to be. Like, I had to be on this card, and then the day after is my birthday. I'm like, all right, I got to do something big. So to know that I'm fighting for the TNA World Tag Team titles against the Nemeths, against the Rascals, and, of course, the Hardys, you know, I have to stand out. I got to do something crazy. Now, I'm not going to say everything I'm going to do because I don't know. The Hardys are in the other room. I don't want them to hear what I'm going to do. But it's going to be definitely memorable for sure.
You know, it's interesting because wrestling was my saving grace growing up. I was bullied. Wrestling was like the way I made friends, you know. You just mentioned the Bash. I'm a 47-year-old DJ. You're a 26-year-old wrestling superstar. We were both in that building at the same time.
Wow.
It's funny, like, do you talk now when you talk to fans or wrestlers alike and realize how much you have in common because of wrestling?
Yep. Yeah, all the time. I mean, it's kind of crazy how you said you were, like, bullied and stuff like that, but you made friends liking wrestling. Yeah, me, it was the opposite. I had no friends because I liked wrestling. So my entire life growing up, nobody wanted to be friends with me because I walked around with the John Cena T-shirt and the Zack Ryder headband. And, you know, when I dyed my hair blonde, I'd be like Dolph Ziggler, you know. I wasn't like that at all, man. I mean, my freshman year of high school, I sat at one of those long tables that sat like 35 kids, 20 kids. Sure. Sat by myself, man. Nobody wanted to sit with me. And, you know, I was just a kid with a dream, bro. But now, seeing how wrestling just exploded again now, like, it's huge. Like, now it's super mainstream. It's not like what it used to be. I felt like it used to be like its own little cult thing. Now it's like super mainstream. It's on everything. I mean, wrestling's on Netflix. You know, TNA's blowing up right now. They got the partnership with WWE. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan for sure.
So TNA, I feel like it came at a time when wrestling needed an alternative. WCW had just folded. And then it was around, but it was sort of forgotten about for a little bit. Now, all of a sudden, you guys are at the UBS Arena. Is there a heightened responsibility on your shoulders knowing that you're now in the big mainstream?
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. I mean, me being 26, I mean, I came into TNA last October, and I mean, TNA did not hesitate to throw me right into the deep end. My first match, I walked right in. I was fighting for the tag team titles with a guy that I never tagged with before. Who then they told me that my third match was against the Hardys. So it was like very right away. And then my fourth match was against Nick Nemeth and Joe Hendry. They're two main eventers. I got thrown in the deep end. So yeah, it does feel like a huge responsibility, man. But I actually thrive off that pressure, man. Sure. I enjoy that. My entire life I was doubted. And when I get put in positions that people expect me to fail in, I always knock it out of the park. So, I mean, I'm loving it right now. I'm enjoying this whole thing.
We just saw Joe Hendry in a WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
I mean, TNA is as big as it can get right now.
Yeah.
And Slammiversary being one of their staples, one of their cornerstone shows, being a part of it. Like you mentioned, you're in this major ladder match. Yeah. I know you're feeling pressure, but what do you think your opponents are feeling right now?
Well, I mean, I know the Hardys are under a little pressure themselves. They're going through a little disagreement with themselves that if they don't win this, they're kind of done at this point. I mean, what else are you going to do? If you can't beat the Nemeths, you can't beat the Rascals, and you damn sure can't beat us. What are you going to do? The Rascals, you know, they're having their own thing. You know, I'm not honestly worried about the Rascals. And then the Nemeths are trying to prove that they're the best brother tag team of all time, which that pressure going up against the Hardys is pretty hard. But now, you know, they beat the Hardys for the title, so they feel a little confident. I mean, listen, man, I'm not a brother with AJ Francis. We're not related. However, when they threw us in together, we clicked right away. And everybody sees it. Everybody knows it. Everybody has been saying First Class should be the tag team champions. They've been saying it for a long time. We haven't had an opportunity since the day that I literally debuted 8 months ago. Now we have this opportunity. We got pressure on us because people don't want to see us do it in the locker room. But I do feel like there's a lot of fans that do want to see us do it, man. And Slammiversary is going to be that night, man. I just have that good feeling about it.
So, I mean, you're in the ring with guys that have been wrestling for longer than they've been alive,
Sure.
than half their age. But I'm curious, as a 26-year-old, and I know you've got Jersey connections as well.
Yeah.
The UBS Arena, it's an impressive place.
Yes.
It is a part of New York folklore now. But what is it like for a 26-year-old to be wrestling in New York in an arena?
Man, it's insane, man. I went from wrestling in my friends' backyards in front of just our families or in front of nobody to then wrestling in front of like 10 people in small little venues like VFWs and stuff, to then starting to get into little bigger shows with 400, 500 people, to now I'm representing a major company in a arena that can hold 10, 20,000 people. I mean, it's a dream come true, man. This is stuff that you dream about, and to be 26 years old and be able to say I'm doing this is pretty insane.
So I wouldn't know where the timeline starts. I mean, I know who my favorites were back in the day, and I'm sure through legacy programs you might have heard of them. Obviously, Roddy Piper, the Ultimate Warrior.
Sure.
But for you, who was your Ultimate Warrior? Who was your Roddy Piper?
So I have what I call my blessed six.
Okay.
These are my guys. The Rock, John Cena, Randy Orton, Zack Ryder, Dolph Ziggler, and Roman Reigns. Those were my guys. Those are my 6 guys. And I feel like when I say that, people kind of go, huh. When they look at the way I wrestle and they see how my character is, they kind of can see a little bit of each guy. But those are the guys that inspire me. Those are the guys that I wanted to be like. And it's kind of crazy that I've wrestled guys like Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder, and I'm going to be wrestling Nick Nemeth in a real arena in a ladder match. So it's kind of insane, man.
Now, Long Island's own Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Now,
woo.
he did something where, didn't necessarily get the breaks we expected him to get in the WWE, and yet he became a household name through social media, through grinding, through getting his name out there. I feel like if I see anything in you that you took from him, it's that, because it's impossible to get away from KC Navarro on social media. You are out there all the time.
Yeah, man, I definitely try, man, and that's something that I definitely tried to get advice from him. The moment I got to wrestle him, and it's funny because when I was supposed to wrestle him, I was supposed to wrestle him at a company called Battlefield Pro Wrestling, ran by Alpha Anoa'i. He's part of the Samoan dynasty. He told me, I'm bringing in Matt Cardona. I was like, who are you giving him? And he was like, I don't know yet. I'm still figuring it out. And I'm like, I promise you need to give him to me. No one's going to be able to sell that match the way I can. Just trust me. He trusted me. I cut 3 major promos. One was me crying that Zack Ryder was dead. One was making a music video saying I'm going to fight Matt Cardona and I'm doing this for Zack Ryder. And the third one was me in a cemetery basically saying that, the fan of me was dead. And I'm introducing who I am to Matt Cardona. By the time I got to the arena that Sunday, they were like, you're wrestling Cardona again on the next show. I'm like, why? They were like, well, whatever you did in those promos made him care. And then they sold out that show, and it was the most bought show. So it's kind of wild that I got to work with Cardona this much, and I got to learn from him. That another company wound up picking it up, and then I had to do interviews for Busted Open to promote that match. I'm like, wow, man, I'm really wrestling my hero right now. This is insane. And then I come to TNA, and he's here in TNA. If you actually go to the arena and you go and you see like the little posters that are up, I'm actually on there with Matt Cardona. It's pretty insane.
You mentioned these promos. If you go back and read the biography of any wrestler from the 80s, I mean, Jerry the King Lawler, Mid-South, all of that stuff, that's the way they got people over. There's no way you're not a student of the game. I mean, how much studying do you do?
It's crazy. I don't do as much as I should. But I definitely study those 6 guys that I liked, man. I mean, I look at guys like The Rock, Cena. I feel like they're promo kings right there. Even Dolph Ziggler. I feel like Ziggler's very underrated.
He's underrated on the mic.
On the microphone, he's very. I mean, his time in WWE, I feel like he was underrated as a whole, but especially on the microphone, man. I mean, he's cut some pretty memorable promos that people seem to have forgot about. Like, I'll never forget his one promo on The Miz when he cut that really heartfelt promo about how sometimes things that you love don't love you back. Like, that's a relatable promo for a lot of people, and like a lot of people forgot about that one. So yeah, man.
We're talking to KC Navarro on 94.3 The Shark, Everything That Rocks. TNA Wrestling Slammiversary, July 20th at the UBS Arena. TNAWrestling.com for more info. Casey, if you were to explain to someone, hey, I know things are tough right now, things are expensive, but you need to be at this show, how would you explain it?
Man, I tell them that this is going to be the most anticipated night, I think, of the year for TNA. You know, this is going to be a lot of unexpected stuff. I mean, look at the stuff with WWE and TNA. I mean, I showed up on NXT and ruined it for Mike Santana. Nobody would have saw that coming, okay? Nobody would have saw that coming. You know, my phone's still blowing up from that day. That was like 3 weeks ago. You know, expected unexpected on that day. This is a big show. It's going to be the biggest show possibly in TNA wrestling as a whole, man. I don't think it's going to get...
I think you're setting the bar.
Literally. I don't think it's going to get any bigger than this, and I think that's why. If you got $50, I'd go. I'd take it. I'd spend it. I'd take it, and then save a little extra and buy yourself a first class or a part of me t-shirt. You know, that's all I got to say about that.
Why do you think wrestling has seen this resurgence? I mean, you have 3 companies right now that could be on any bar TV at any time right now. Why do you think we're seeing it again after it's got to be 15 years since the last heyday?
Man, I think I could be completely wrong on this, but I think that now wrestlers are starting to be allowed to be themselves now, and it's more authentic, and I think people can feel that. I think years ago the characters were just not as authentic, man. You can't believe in them as much. Like when I'm at TNA, I'm allowed to be me. I came into TNA as KC Navarro. I wasn't told how to be me. I wasn't told how to do my catchphrase or how to talk. Like, I walked in. If it worked, it worked. And luckily, it worked for me. But I think that's the biggest thing is I feel like wrestling is a little more authentic now with its characters. And the storylines are great, and they're very unpredictable. And, you know, now that you're seeing things that you never thought you'd see, WWE and TNA working together, who would have saw that 10, 15 years ago? I mean, I wouldn't even saw it 2 years ago. But now that it's happening now, I think it makes wrestling fun and exciting again. And I think that's the greatest thing about it.
Last year when Jordan Grace came out at the Royal Rumble, I was confused. I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that I think makes TNA so special is because I haven't been surprised in a long time as a salty old 47-year-old.
Yeah.
And you guys have been really entertaining with these surprises. So I'm not going to ask you to spoil anything, but what I will ask you is, knowing that anything can happen in TNA, what would you tell somebody to prepare for?
Expect the unexpected. That's all I can say about
I absolutely love it.
Literally. That's literally all I can say.
And Casey, final question. And again, I know you guys have a lot going on, and it must be interesting knowing that as this up-and-coming wrestling superstar, you're one of the ambassadors for this event.
Yeah.
So as a TNA spokesman, what do you think sets you apart from anyone else as a company?
I think all the talent that we have. I mean, you go from guys that are up and coming and brand new like me, Leon Slater, Jason Hotch, could be the future of this company. And then you got legends like Nick Nemeth, the Hardys, Santino, who's running the show. I mean, which is kind of insane sometimes to think about. But you got so many different things and so many different elements, and we're still building our roster as it goes. And then we're getting to work on NXT, and their talent's coming over here. And, you know, we don't have like a performance center. We're going through grit, working on the indies and learning that way if we're not from WWE. So I think that just makes us different, man. And I think our show is one of the best ones out there right now. And I think this is just the beginning of this rise for TNA.
Brother, I appreciate it. This door is open anytime you guys have something going on, man.
Thank you, my man.